Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Play the Tape. I'm your host, Derek J. Fields, and my guest today is a brother of mine that I admire. His story is very interesting. For full disclaimer, we are not certified, licensed, trained professionals. We're not therapists. What Play the Tape is a platform for support, community, and advocacy. It's a place where people can come up here and share their stories, their testimonies, their experience, strength, and hope. And with that, there's faith, love, and recovery. That's what we're here for. Play the Tape. So my brother today, my brother Darryl, he is my brother. I love him. And I'm so thankful for you being on my show today, brother, taking time away from your busy schedule
Yes, sir.
to to share your story, to share your experience, strength, to hope, to let other people know that recovery works. And I'm grateful to you for that. And I thank you. And without further ado, my brother Darryl, how you doing this morning?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm
Thanks for having.
good. Of
Thanks for
course.
having me. Thanks for
Of
having me.
course. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can start wherever you want to. Wherever your story starts for you, you can start there. Floor is yours, brother.
All right. Uh, Again, thanks for having me. Okay, so my name is Darryl, Baltimore, Maryland. Where my story starts, I'm gonna go way back because it started way before it started. Um, I had, I had my upbringing was good. My dad was an entertainer. My mom was a was in the medical field. So it was a pretty good life. Um, there was a lot going on, but the issues started early. My issues started early on because again, my dad was on the road a lot and around the country and around the world singing, and my mom had to work, so it left a bunch of kids home to raise themselves, and that wasn't the brightest ideas, but it had to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We had to figure out a way to grow up and to live and to cook and to eat and to play and school and homework. We almost had to kind of do it on our own because by the time she got home, you know what I mean, it was late. And
Where
and
did
and
you
s-
where did you fall in the order of the kids? Were you the oldest,
I
middle, baby?
No, I was the middle. I was the
Okay.
middle. I have a younger sister and an older brother, and I was the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So it was again, it was difficult from the beginning just because of the dynamic of the family. Um, so again, my older brother, very intelligent, but he was always on the go and on the move. So it was basically me and my little sister, and that therein lies where my issues started because I was a kid raising a kid. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And again, that's where a lot of my decision making, a lot of my issues, abandonment issues, and that's kind of where my life went wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and again, as I got older, if things would have been again, if things would have been, it's a thin line between a lot of stuff. If things would have worked out with my dad singing and how my mom was moving, then all would really be good. It was never bad, but it really would have been better because I'm sure we would have had nannies and you know how it
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
you know how it could have went,
Yeah.
but we were just that close not to have a nanny. So again, and we had a nice home, always had a nice home, always had a nice safe place and a nice safe haven. But that really, when your mind is going one way, and your life is a certain way, but your mind is going one way, it never, my life just never balanced out. So I
Right.
kind of had issues from the beginning. And again, I had to just basically figure out how to grow up, how to live, how to be a young adult, how to be an adolescent, man. Because again, and let me go back, because it was parties. It was always parties, because with the bands and the groups and everybody that used to come to town, they
Mm-hmm.
would come. They would come to the house. So it was, and I was the little help my mother clean up the house, and so it's little cups of vodka and cheap wine or whatever they was drinking back then, and again, that's where my addiction started. started with the cigarette, but you know, it was because it was a party house. It was a bunch of entertainers, and you know what they did? The same thing they do now. So so again, you know, it's cups and cigarettes and cups and joints and you know all this stuff is laying around the house all the time. So I started at an early age, you know, doing what I saw them do. Um, so that's kind of where a lot of my behavioral issues started.
Hmm.
You know, before 13, you know, 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's really when, and again, now I see they were the most I want to say indelible. I see when people are that young, they need some structure. See, I didn't have no structure. I didn't have no structure at that age. I wasn't gonna have no structure as a teenager, as a young adult, because I never had structure. So that's kind of how I live my life. That's kind of how I got on this podcast today, because I didn't have structure. I had to learn some structure later on in life. So all my decision making actually landed me right here today.
I know that's right, but that's good. How was it growing up as a middle child with 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 that partying and those joints and those little cups of vodka or cups of wine? How did was that you thought was that normalized at that time? That's what you saw, so you thought that was what you do,
Again, yeah, that was what was entrenched in my brain. I thought that's what people did.
right?
So I figured I would start early. That way, by the time I got their age, I'd be good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You was had spoke about how you your brother, your older brother, was in and out on the run, moving, ripping and running, doing what he had to do, and it
Mm-hmm.
was you and your baby sister.
Mm-hmm.
How was that? How did that responsibility of being 9, 10, 11, taking care of your baby sister, like shape Darryl right now? How did it shape Darryl as a teenager or shape Darryl as a young man? Because I know that didn't just stop instantly. You basically was taking care of her all the way up until
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, again, well, it a few things happened. One
okay,
thing happened is I learned how to take care of a woman or a young girl or a female. I
right.
had my little sister. I had to learn how
Mm-hmm.
to make sure my little sister was good. So that actually transferred into a lot of good areas of my life because I never, you know, always had long-term relationships. Um, good girl, you know, pretty good girl, really good girlfriends. You know what I mean? So that
Yeah.
actually was one of the good things, and even some of my decision making. It was just, I mean, a lot of that molded me because I had to figure out how to be all right. See, that wasn't a time where I figured out how not to be all right. Now, I did pick up some bad habits as well, but it also taught me how to cook, how to
Mm-hmm.
clean. You know, there's certain things that I had to do because it was certain things that you know, especially my mother, you know, it was a list, it was a checklist on the fridge, you know, a checklist on the refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
What to cook, what to do, what to clean, what she expect by the time she get home. So it wasn't a totally bad thing. Um, it's just that that's when I started manipulating the system and manipulating my, you know, a lot of manipulative stuff started at that time too. I learned how to hide and, you know, sneaky, steal a little, take a little, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a totally bad situation. So because I did learn I had to build some great attributes too by being so young and being with my little sister. That you know, it taught me character as well, though.
Good. That's and that's the same side of the coin is understanding that even in the good, even in the bad, there's good. There's
Mm-hmm.
always light. There's always something to learn. And you taking care of your little sister gave you responsibility. It taught you at an early age how to be on that side of the coin responsible. But on the
Mm-hmm.
other side of the coin, it taught you, I'm a little high a little bit. I want to be a little manipulative. I want to be a kid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point did your addiction or your disease actually started? When did you notice it was starting to? I guess what I'm asking, how old were you when you were like, okay, I'm starting to smoke a little marijuana. I'm starting to take a little sip here. I'm starting to incorporate these things that I saw as a child, younger child, into my teenage years. When did that
Uh,
start?
uh, it started again. It never really stopped. It never really stopped. Is the thing. It never stopped. But again, I could control it because back then it was just reefer and drinking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like until I want to say maybe high school. Again, junior high was the same. It was, but again, I was in the sport, so it wasn't totally bad. I was always in the football and basketball, and so it was never totally bad. But it really got, again, it was just smoking and the drinking, and the hanging out and the partying. Adolescence, 15, 16. But that's when I really knew, waking up on the porch, yeah, drunk.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
when I was like, man, I didn't think it was that bad, you know. And then that's also when, I guess that was like the mid late 80s. That had been like the late 80s. So, it was a little drinking, a little reefer, a little cocaine. It's really how it started.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always in the house. I told you, it was
Right.
always in the house. So, if I would go again, sneaking, go through my father's drawer, shit like that, it was always a little bag, coke, shit like that. So it was always around. And again, I used to get my ass ripped because he used to come out the road and he would know how much was in there. And he come
Yeah.
back, it be this much. He come back, it's this much. He knew where to come at. He knew where to come at with the belt. He knew where to come at with the belt, with the switch. He knew, and again, it was always around, man. But that's when it really, I want to say, probably 15, 16. It was because again, by then, well, listen, but by then he was off the road. He came home
Mm-hmm.
because the family was falling apart. So he gave up the singing, came home, went back to college, and got a job. But by then I was gone. You've been
What do you
gone
mean?
all my,
What do you mean
huh?
you were going? What do you mean you were going?
The streets had raised me. By then,
Okay.
he coming home talking about cleaning the bathroom and doing, chores and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But by then I'm like, I don't even know you. So really by then I was already, my mindset was already like, I'm just gonna do what I want to do. I've been doing what I want to do, so I'm gonna continue. You
Right.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was kind of, I was actually gone by then. He couldn't tell me nothing. I didn't want to hear nothing. And now that I've been doing some step work, now that I'm in recovery, I kind of see what happened and see again, where everything went wrong. Me and his relationship, even though we cool now, but I had a lot of resentment from, by him being gone all them years and then coming home and trying to run the house. I didn't like that,
Yeah. It
truthfully.
just yeah. It just wasn't sit. It didn't sit well with you. Yeah. You
Right,
just yeah. You've been gone. You can't just come in here and regulate. Like
right,
right. And you were becoming
exactly.
your own man at that time. All the
Yeah.
responsibility that you had with the house, helping your
Mhm.
mom, your little
Mhm.
sister. Yeah,
Mhm.
you was grown. You was your grown little man. So
Mhm.
I get that. I get that. We're gonna get to your recovery because that's definitely where I want it to go because I want people to understand. And you explain step work and what step did you land on that made you understand that resentment. We're going to get to that point. So 15, you in the streets. You're not really trying. You're not checking for your dad. Um, keep me going. 15, high school. Did you go to college? What happened in that adolescent period in that young adult for Darryl?
Um. Well, let me. All right. So teenage years,
Mm-hmm.
it was. It wasn't really no heavy stuff going on. I got with now. Let me go back to this. My father always told me to dream big, and if anything you want to do, do it big. And I'm gonna go back to that too, because
Okay.
it also go back to when if you're gonna get high, get high. If you gonna fuck your life up, get really fucked up. But that mindset, I know, because again, there's a lot of good that came out of that too, because he always had good nuggets from me. He always had good words from me. He
Mm-hmm.
was just absent physically. But he was always good and always had a good mind, and that's where I get a lot of my stuff now. I see from him, directly from him. A lot of the good stuff that I got going on, it was always there. I just had to tap into it. But yeah, man, my adolescence, it was hanging out, it was school, it was uh, and then the streets, uh, and then the streets happened. It was like the mid '80s, the mid '80s, and the drugs and the crack and the heroin and the money and the pimps and the pushes. And again, my dad wasn't there, and I seen a lot of that slick shit from all these, the spinners and the all these big name groups that everybody else know about. When they
Mm-hmm.
come to Baltimore, they would be at that house. So I seen a lot coming up. I seen a lot of big cars and flashy shit. I seen that at home. Whenever they was home, practicing, rehearsing, shit like that, they would always come to the house.
Mm-hmm.
Or I would always go with them because I would hang out with him when he was home. I would go to the studio or go to his shows and stuff like that. And I had to go on the road with him because I got put out of school early. I forgot that part. I had to travel around with them.
How?
Uh,
What was? What age was that? Like, good.
I was young, man, because that was my job. I was the kisser. I had to. That's how I
I,
made my money. I had to
I,
go sit out there and I would kiss ladies on the cheek for $1 or 50 cents
yeah.
and shit like that. So yeah, no, I was young then. I had been about 8 then, 7, 8,
Okay.
9. I was young. I'm telling you, man, I've been fucked up for a long time. That's what I'm saying. It didn't just stop when I started using. I was
Right.
damaged material way early, young. You know what I mean? But but yeah, so man, school was good. I was always in advance. I was always did good in school, but I
Mm-hmm.
just could not sit still. That I couldn't. I would get the work done, and then I want to, run the halls and do crazy shit.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As soon as my work done, I want the hall pass. I need the hall. I got to go. So and again, I had no. I mean, I was even in the hospital. They put me in the hospital to figure out if something was wrong with me. I had to go to the hospital. That was about 12 or 13. I had to go to the hospital, to the psych ward. They tried to, but it was nothing wrong with me. I was just missing. I had no structure. I was just missing my dad, and you know what I mean. It wasn't like I suffered from no real crazy shit. I just didn't need no drugs. Thoughts, that type of drug.
Right.
I didn't need none of
Yeah.
that type of drug. I needed some love. It's basically what I needed, and some guidance and structure from my dad is actually what I needed.
So you said around you was a good kid in school. You needed that structure and that guidance. You said the streets uh about 15, 16. In that time, 15, I'm assuming, and I don't want to, that's why I'm asking, 15 to 18 was that the street time? Is that when the streets was heavy for you? And and if it was, what came after that? Did you? I know your dad always said to you, and I like that if you're going whatever you dreaming, whatever you want to do to be successful, do it big. And I know
Mm-hmm.
that stuck with you and it sticks with you now because you brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
Was that was there anything after the streets? When you were in the streets, do you have any ambition? Did you want to go to college? Did you want to continue to pursue sports, or did the streets have a hold on you that you couldn't really advance the way you wanted to at that time?
No. Actually, no, because again, I had even with growing up how I grew up, I
Mm-hmm.
still had a semblance of normalcy, even though it was kind of weird. But I had a semblance of normalcy because I still had a mom. I still had respect for my, you know what I'm saying? I still had a
Yeah,
mother who
yeah,
handled business and shit like that. So
right.
my life was never crazy. Even on the streets, I'm gonna tell you, even because I'm around the lake now, around my old way. But even around here, the older guys, shorty, y'all can come out, but y'all can't come out this morning. School hours, it was y'all niggas can't be out here. You're supposed to be in school. Now, after
Mm-hmm.
school, you can come out here and do whatever you want to do. But during school hours, no. So it was always people around me who kind of guided me the right way, even in the wrong situations. And I think that's why I wasn't just a total asshole or just a crazy, killer. You understand what I'm saying? Or
Yeah,
just
yeah.
really, really, really off the hook. Because I always had a semblance of normalcy, even in the midst of everything that was going on, the hustle in the streets. And then I had my son early. I had my son at 19. So and again with this, a lot of people that I was dealing with, when they were going to Cancun and shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
I was going to Ocean City because I had a son and a baby mother. I didn't want to hang out with them. I hustled with them all day. I couldn't jeopardize, you know what I'm saying? When
Yes.
they traveling around with 50, 60 people, and I know I got a girlfriend and a son. I got to go to Sandy Point. You understand what I'm saying? Go have a fucking picnic. I got
Mm-hmm.
to do shit like that. And that's kind of what saved me, man, because even in the midst of everything, even with the getting high, I never messed with nobody that got high. None of my girlfriends got high. I was always in a good situation from childhood. So I
Mm-hmm.
always had some semblance of safety around me. That's why I didn't get totally eaten up by the streets.
So when did because everybody's journey of using an addiction gets them to a point where we pray and we hope that it gets to a point where there's help, or you get a moment of clarity like, okay, dang, D, I need to make a change because I don't think this is the way my life should be. So you got your
Mm,
son at 19, you go to Ocean
mm.
City, you still have some semblance of normalcy. It's not bad, but when did it get to the point where Darryl needed to, I need to make a change? And I know it happens more than once because I know for me it did. I needed, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
some people are one and done. God bless
Mm,
them. I know for me, I wasn't a one and done. I
mm,
needed rehab and psych and detox more than one time. So for
mm.
you, where did that moment of clarity was like, okay, this ain't it.
Well, all right. So, well, really, what happened? I I would be off and on because
Mm-hmm.
again, I had a son, and then let me go back a little bit. One of my father friends used to do this kind of work on houses and stuff. And I think I was about 15 then, 15, 16, 17. And he used to pull up on the block and he would take all his tools and put them in the house. And I said, Mr. Cotton, look, we out here all night. If somebody gonna come through here, they gonna trying to rob us. They ain't gonna be stealing no goddamn tools. They want, you know what I mean? So I was
Yeah.
like, you ain't gotta, it was one of them things. Like, listen, your truck is good. And he was like, Lil Bell, one of these days I might need you. And I was like, man, I sell dope and coke. I'm not working. And
Right.
one morning he's like, man, one of my guys, and that is this one of my guys got hurt on the job. I need some help. And I was like, shit. I think I was 15 then. I said, all right, because I kept telling him that I'm gonna go. I said, all right, cool. And I went with him
Mm-hmm.
to do some sheetrock work and demo work and stuff like that. And again, I haven't stopped yet. I haven't ever had a job. This is the only thing I ever done because of that.
Man, that was your higher power moving at that time, even before you knew your higher power was moving at that time.
Man,
That's how I
he
see it. You know what I
he
mean?
knew. He knew
Yeah,
I
he
needed
knew.
something of it in the streets. Even though I
Yes.
still had my eyes and ears and money, even though I was always connected to the streets, I started work. I
That's
started,
man.
you see what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
again, I always had a safety net. I was never totally caught up. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't do a whole bunch of crazy stuff on the streets, but I always had a respite because I was always, and again, all the guys who had all the slick shit other than the hustlers were the guys who worked. They had work
Mm-hmm.
vans, they had work trucks and shit like that. They had the money.
Right.
And back to what my father told me, if you gonna hang, get with the people who getting the money. And
Right.
I saw it. They had houses and badass girls and shit like that. They just had on work clothes every day. And a lot of this, well, I can say it now. A lot of them was in the game too. So we would work and sell drugs and work. And that's why when it was time for me to go to jail, I didn't really go to, I went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
But because of all the good shit I was doing, they was like, all right, nigga, we ain't gonna smash you.
Man.
Cause we know
They
you a
go
good guy.
they go God again. They go God again.
I'm serious.
I'm
Hey
for real
man,
too. I'm
man,
with
I'm
you.
serious.
I'm with you.
Because people came to court and said, look, I hear you, but we know this part. We know this. He a good guy. I get it. He messed up, but he a good dude. So give him a break. And again, I always had a safe haven, a safe place, man. I
I
couldn't
get
just do all
right,
bad and no good.
right, and that is, and that's what I'm trying to get to, because at some point, with all the, yeah, we all have done and made mistakes and
Mhm.
transgressed and messed up and hurt
Mhm.
people and hurt ourselves.
Mhm.
But how did Darryl get to recovery? How did Darryl,
Oh,
even though there were safe havens, how
yeah.
did Darryl
How
get
to
to
get here?
like, I'm
All
done.
right.
I have to make a change in
I
this
got you.
regard. Yeah.
All right. So, all right. Again, I remember I told you I was always into sports. So
Mm-hmm.
we had a flag football team, and we would travel around to the different colleges and play football and shit. One weekend I'm playing, but it was just a bunch of homeboys. We get together, go get some food, go out the county. There's a group of them out there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A group of us come from out Baltimore, and we would travel around. Homeboys, same shit. We all hustled. We all sold drugs and shit, but we was in the sports, so we would travel around and play football against other groups of niggas, other groups of people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all get y'all's, we got ours, we'll meet up. So what happened is I broke my back. I broke my back, and this had to been, I think I was about 23 or 24 then. See, this is when it all started falling apart. I broke my back, man, and they put me, I was paralyzed for a year. But when I went to the hospital I went to, they put me on morphine pills and shit like that back then. They put me on some strong ass pills. And you know me. And again, I was selling dope then. So I had dope and I had tried it, but it made me sick. So I never really did the shit until after I broke my back. Cause I had a decent amount of money then. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And I had a lot of shit going on then. But again, I would just smoke weed, drink, sniff with old coke. I never really did heroin until that broke my back. Once I broke my back, I had a bunch of this shit and I had a bunch of money. And I was down for about a year because I couldn't walk. And my man was like, well, go ahead, you know how I be. Boy, go ahead, take a blow. And I
Yeah.
remember how the shit, and I was like, nah, that shit gonna make me sick. He said, nah, because, misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
These motherfuckers ain't doctors. No,
Nope.
you ain't gonna get sick. And he was right because I was already on the morphine pills. So I started s- sniffing that shit. And that had been I was about 25 then. And that's really when shit fell apart. That was about 95. And then I got addicted to heroin, um, smoking coke J's and shit like that, drinking, partying, all that shit was still going on. But that's really when my addiction took off.
Mm-hmm.
After I was injured, um, and then some other shit happened. The guys, a bunch of niggas I was rolling with, had got murdered and shit. It was a lot of shit going on the streets. So I was just paranoid. And I don't know if I had PTSD from all that shit that was going on too, but it gave me a reason to stay in the house and just get fucked up. That's just what it made
Yeah.
sense at that time. It just made sense to
Right.
medicate mentally and just forget about anything. And that's actually what happened, man. And that was about 95. And then I went to prison after that. I got caught with a bunch of shit a couple times. You know, went to jail, so that saved me again. See that again, and
Yeah.
I never got high when I was in prison. Again, but I all some kind of way and high power,
Absolutely.
bad motherfucker, man.
Absolutely.
Man, listen, I should have been, I shouldn't be sitting here right now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Um, so yeah, I was in and out of prison, man, for a few years. Uh, and again, I had a son, so I had to make it right. I had to figure out a way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even with him, man, it was because he played the same thing, played sports, did everything I did. Even now, he an electrician. I see him every day. Um, so he always followed me, and I knew he was always looking. Even in the man. Hold on. Let me tell you this story.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back a little bit. So his mother moved out the county. When I came home, uh, we had a party for my mother and them at the house, and she came. Her husband, he her husband now, but he was the boyfriend then. This the same nigga I was gonna kill, right? For for taking for taking my girlfriend, right? But look, I'm gonna tell you how God worked though. I came when I came home. This nigga, they came to the house, to my
Mm-hmm.
parents' house, to the party and shit. I said, you know, because I'm thinking she gonna bring her brother and her mother there. She bring the boyfriend, the boyfriend, and and in the kitchen, and you know me, I give credit where credit due, because I was
Right.
never a bad person. I just ended up doing some crucial shit on the streets. But so I run into the dude in the kitchen and I said, man, you know, now listen, I didn't think nobody heard this shit. I said, look, I appreciate you doing for my son because I've been locked up and, you know, in and out
Mm-hmm.
of jail getting high. I said, man, I really appreciate everything you do for little Darryl. And man, now, I mean, it's about 50, 60 people in here. The fucking house got quiet.
Mm.
Like everybody had their ears and shit to the wall. Like, did I just hear this motherfucker say what I thought he said? Um, so again, I never was a bad person because the man was raising my son. I was in the streets getting high, and he gave him what I couldn't.
Yeah.
So I had to
uh,
thank the motherfucker.
Absolutely. And that was a blessing. And for you to realize it at that moment, yeah, that speaks really highly of your higher power and God and yourself to do
Yeah,
that. Yeah. Yeah. Really.
that's my man.
Absolutely.
To this
Yeah.
day, we cool. Yeah, that's my man now. To the day.
Yeah,
To this
I have a
day.
s- I have a similar situation too, and I had to look at it like that because I didn't
Mm,
look at it like that for a long time. Till God was like, "Yo, a man is a good man to your son and to your daughter,"
mm-hmm,
and I thank him.
mm-hmm,
And me and him are cool. I tell him
mm-hmm,
Happy Father's Day. That's my dude. So I'm
mm-hmm,
with you. I get it. I get it.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So so I get that.
Yeah.
So how did moving forward into the heroin use and isolating and
Mm-hmm.
the PTSD, because I believe PTSD is not just a term exclusively just for military and first responders. It is, but every, PTSD is a post traumatic stress. It's
Yeah.
an event that is very traumatic. So
Mm-hmm.
moving into, I'm isolated. I'm in the house. I'm using heavily more than I'm supposed to. You have a son. You want to do right by your son. Now, where's the transition into? Okay, I might need some help. I might need to find resources to save my life, to get me out of here.
Uh, that shit didn't happen.
Okay.
It
Explain
didn't.
that.
Just well, what happened is I got locked up.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then and when I'm locked, I don't get high. I didn't get high in prison because I had to be on my shit. You see what
Right.
I'm saying? So I,
So
huh?
after prison. So you didn't get high during prison because, of course, like you said, you had to be on your P's and Q's.
No, and then and again, I came home,
Mm-hmm.
um, and started using again, started selling and using again. See,
Okay.
that was if I didn't start selling, I wouldn't start using because I wouldn't be around it. I kept putting myself in the midst of that shit,
Mm-hmm.
and I did not know how to say no because I didn't know I was an addict. I just thought, let me tell you this. I didn't know I was an addict till I ran into my man. I got locked up and I ran into my man over to jail. He was like, "Sure, you messing with that shit uptown." I'm like, "Nah, you know I was lying like shit. Nah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. It's fucking June and I'm in there with a wool blanket wrapped around me. These niggas out there playing basketball. It's the middle of the summer. It's fucking 100 degrees in a joint. And I'm in that motherfucker cold." He said, "Sure, you been getting high." That's when I really realized I had a habit.
Okay.
I didn't know nothing about that shit. I just thought that, you know, if my stomach started hurting, I take a few blows, I'm good. I did not know I had a habit until that day, and then I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah,
No, go ahead. Uh-huh.
but then I got bailed out, and then when I came, I got bailed out, and I was out here for a minute. Um, Everything was good. I was still hitting and missing, cause again, it just seemed normal.
Mm-hmm.
Shit just seemed normal. My stomach started hurting, or I'm sluggish or don't feel good, and I would be okay in the house. But as soon as I want to do something, I had to get up, and then go about my business. Um, and that's when I really realized that I had a habit, but I still didn't do nothing about it. I still kept thinking that I could fucking lay in the house for 30 to 20 days, because again, I always had a place to go.
Mm-hmm.
I was never homeless and none of that dumb shit. I was always a good person. I just got high. You know, you didn't have to hide your fucking pocketbooks and all that shit around me because I was a hustler. I didn't, not to say I ain't steal shit from my parents. I did some dumb shit before, but that wasn't my shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I wasn't the one to come in and steal everything out of the fucking house. I always hustle or work for mine. But yeah, that's when I realized I had a habit though, man, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I knew I snip some more dope. That's what the
right.
fuck I knew what to do. But it don't feel good. I'd go get high.
Yep.
Um, so I didn't know anything about no recovery until recently.
When was
And
okay then? So when did that happen? So when did the
uh,
because we got like 20 minutes and I want to get your recovery story in
oh,
too.
I
Yeah.
so I got clean in '05. Here we go with
Mm-hmm.
this shit again. My old girl, one of my girlfriend broke up with me, and I was gonna kill her and the nigga again. Back to this shit again. So I got clean Christmas '05. I didn't use again until 16, until 2016. I didn't.
What happened at that at 2016 to go from '05 to 16? Congratulations. Because and I say that because that's still an accomplishment. That's still a positive. That's still a good thing. So what happened at 16 in 2016 to have you use again?
Again, I was always around it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, I didn't have no weapons. I didn't know nothing about recovery. I didn't know nothing about no step. I didn't know nothing about no literacy. Matter
Right.
of fact, I didn't know nothing about no motherfucking meetings. And I live in Baltimore City because they wasn't the questions I was asking. I didn't want to know who the fuck was clean. I wanted to know who was dirty as shit. Who tell me where they good shit at.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I had no idea that all this recovery was happening in a city like Baltimore, which is a heroin city. I did not know. So I got clean. Oh, I started back using it in 16.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Philly. I went to Philly to rehab, did good, came back home, but still wouldn't work no program. You know, 90 and
Yeah.
90, find a sponsor, any of that shit, I wouldn't do it. I would come home thinking, all right, I found a new way. I can do it this way now. There's millions of people who saying they get a sponsor, motherfucker, do some step work, go to meetings. And nah, I said, nah, I'm too smart. I got this shit. I'm just gonna go this way this time.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so I went to Philly, stayed up there about 6 months, 9 months, came back home and got fucked up as soon as I got picked up. My man then picked me up, took me out for some crab cakes and a beer, Corona. As soon as I got back, I still had my bags and shit in the car because I figured I could drink now. See, again, addiction and disease, man, it's cunning and baffling in the city. This motherfucker will
Mm-hmm.
come to you in some other ways, man. So
Mm-hmm.
it just kept me thinking that I could do it this way and I would be okay. I could do it this way and I could be okay. So I went to Philly, came home, relapsed. I went right back to Avery Road in Montgomery County. Went down there, got my shit together, came back home. Oh no, let me go back. I drank that night. My son got married in Atlanta. I chilled out the whole rest of that year. My son got married in Atlanta, and I got drunk at the airport. And I got drunk the whole week of the wedding. 3 weeks later, I was sniffing dope again. This shit happened 2 years in a row. The same Caribbean festival. They got a Caribbean festival in Baltimore. And both festivals I missed because I was fucking high and OD because that's when the new shit was out with the fentanyl. I take a few blows and sleep for 12 hours type shit. But anyway, man, I yeah, again, 16, 17, 18, I kept doing the same shit. I would stay clean for 6, 9 months, buy another vehicle. I kept, again, but this disease, it'll make you think you okay.
Yes,
It'll
it
make
will.
you think this motherfucker
Yes.
will make it had me thinking that I could do this shit this way and I'm all right. And again, crash my shit up. Oh, all right, let me go back to that. 16, total my shit. 17, total. 18, bought a new one, totaled it. Every fucking year since 16, I had something new and totaled it. Fucking getting high. So then I finally, in 2020, all right, now let me get to recovery now.
Mm-hmm.
2020, I bought a box truck, was doing good, was clean, and Came around here one day to pick some guys up to work. And with the bullshit. Oh man, I ain't feeling too good. All right, here, go ahead and get you something. Matter of fact, come on, I'll take you. Cause I gotta hurry up. I'll take you. Went down there. I ain't got no change here, but just get two. Fuck it, you need one later. But then I said, you matter of fact, give me that motherfucker. Took a hit.
Mm-hmm.
I told him I'd be right back. Go look at this kitchen job. Tore my shit up. And they took me to the hospital. All right, I go to the hospital, man. Then I got out. Truck was totaled. My mother them needs something. I said, all right. I put my truck in the shop. Again, I always had a fucking umbrella. I always had a cushion.
Right.
Some kind of way. My bottom wasn't up under the building. It was always, I caught you because my dad, stay in position. My father told me just, fuck with people that's all right, even if you ain't.
Right.
So I always did. But anyway, totaled my truck, came to my parents' house and OD, and that's when I said, you know what? They'll never look at me like that again. I don't give a fuck what I gotta do to stay clean. It don't. At that point, it didn't matter, cause the way my parents looked at me, like, oh, you just such a disappointment.
Yeah.
Ah, this bullshit again. I said, you know what? I went to fucking. I haven't used since then, but that was my bottom. Them seeing me
Mm.
fucked up like that and the look on their face like, you again. I
Yeah.
said, you know what? You'll never look at me like that again. And that's actually when I said, you know what? It's the program, it's meetings. And let me get to that. The first Zoom, now mind you, this shit happened in Zoom. I got clean on in Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
The first meeting I went to, dude had 30 plus years clean. And he said he has not found a reason yet not to go to a meeting. And this was over 30 fucking years. I said, I guess I'm going to meetings the rest of my life. Fuck
Yep.
that. If it worked for him, this shit gonna work for me because I can work. I can maneuver my way through anything else. I've done it.
Yes.
So now I'm here. I said, fuck it. Let me go ahead and do what I gotta do because I just don't want to be an average ass recovering addict because that's just not what I do. I want the best that recovery has to offer me, and with that, I had to put in some work. I had to do
I,
everything that was suggested. I mean,
I like that. I really, really like that. How you said that. I don't want to be average. I want the best that recovery has to offer me.
I
And you
do.
put in the work. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And I like how God was moving in your life. Even but and and God does that. High power does that. Moves in our life even when we don't know until we
Mm-hmm.
know. And then
Mm-hmm.
there'll be some things we never know that
Mm-hmm.
the interjection happened or the intercession happened. But the
Mm-hmm.
things that we do know is like, all right, thank you. I appreciate that
Mm-hmm.
because I should have been dead a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm with you. Um, real quick, um, you talked about step work and sponsorship. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and you in for Darryl, what is that? What does that mean?
Well, listen, it's so much wrong.
Mm-hmm.
As men, let me say this: as men, we think we all right. We always think we the fuck all right, right? But when you really get down to it, and when you really start working on, you know, especially shit like step four, it's really when you writing down everything that's really wrong with you or that you think is wrong with you. And
Mm-hmm.
again, it's nothing wrong with this, man, because I get free help from you motherfuckers around here. So I appreciate it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
My sister addicts and brother fellow addicts, man. Listen, everything that you can imagine is in these motherfucking rooms. But we practice a program of anonymity, so we really don't talk about no job titles and all that shit.
Right.
But
Right.
once you get to personally know some of these people, it's some bad motherfuckers in here. It
Mm-hmm.
is some man. Listen, and I always said that about people on the streets. It was some really talented people out there too, for real, for real. But nah, man, it's the work. The work on me starts with the step work. A honest, honest fourth step is really when you're gonna really realize that you changing, you moving, you ready to do some real slick shit now. Cause now you really get into the nature of who you are and how you got to where you are and how you think and how you move. Well, me personally, how I think and how I move, man. And again, the step work is that's how we get better.
Yeah.
That's how we learn. We gotta relearn. We gotta learn. We gotta relearn that. Cause I didn't know a lot of shit. I thought I knew some things, but I really didn't know shit. It was just again, like you just said, my higher power saying, you know what? I need you, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
You might not know it, but I got something for your dumb ass. I got something for your stupid ass. Even though you keep doing what you doing,
Yep.
I got something
Absolutely.
for your dumb ass. So we gonna save you. We gonna keep
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah,
Yeah.
man, this work, man, it's the best. It's the best thing that ever happened, man. But seriously, everybody need a program.
Right. I
I
agree with
got
that.
I got people who don't get high doing step work because they fucked up and their lives have become unmanageable. They just never use drugs,
Yeah.
but they
Exactly.
do
Right.
other shit
Shit. Yes.
obsessively, and
Yes.
their lives become
Yes.
fucked up. And
Yep.
I sell step work to real normal people.
Right. Because it's just not the. It's just the disease of addiction manifests itself not just with substances. It could be
Yeah,
so many other different things.
that's how it is.
That's
I'm not
how it
gonna get
is.
no cleaner. I'm not gonna get no cleaner than I got 2.5 years ago, bro.
Right.
But I can get better
Yes.
if I put the work in. And again, even around here, connecting with the right people, doing the right
Mm-hmm.
things. I don't sit around here. It's people, man, that sit around here playing just because they clean. That shit ain't enough for me.
So let me ask you something, D. Before we got like maybe like 9 minutes for it, just a day. You're a little depressed. You're a little sad. Things ain't moving the way you think they should move.
Hmm.
You're still, of course, you're clean. We don't pick up no matter what. We don't use no matter what.
Hmm.
But there's still character defects. There's still shortcomings. There's still anger. There's still pissed offness. There's
Hmm.
still I'm hurt. In your recovery,
Hmm.
in your experience, how do you deal with that? We got like 10 minutes. Give
I
me that.
that well, I sit still, and I got people. I got men and women that I trust. With not only do they got see, they got me in recovery. They
Mm-hmm.
get me through recovery, but we practice these principles in all our affairs. The shit that I'm learning in here, I take out here to business world.
Okay.
Everything that I get on this side of recovery, I turn around and I utilize it. Cause again, it's a yin to a yang. To every character defect, there is a flip side to that motherfucker. That's a good thing. It's always and it's all a change in perspective. If you tweak that perspective just a little bit, you know the old saying that the cup half full. If
Mm-hmm.
you, I don't focus on what ain't in it. I focus on what is in it. And even with me, I be having, I be having days. I ain't gonna say I have bad days. I have bad moments.
Okay.
Um, but I learned how to deal with it clean. Because I know people who've been through everything that I'm gonna go through. I know people who've gone through it.
Right.
I lean on my network a lot. I got some strong motherfuckers in recovery. I, I'm gonna give you this. The other day, I got a check. Well, I didn't get a check. I'm doing a job.
Mm-hmm.
The motherfucker bought me cash. And mind you, I don't normally have cash on me, but
Me neither.
this particular day, I had about $5,000 that I was supposed to be going to the bank and didn't. And I had a thought. I was like, shit, it's nice. It's fucking 77 degrees. I said, man, now, mind you, I'm Muslim and it's Ramadan too.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, fucking a bag of dope, a chicken box, and a half and half, and I'm gonna go sit my ass in the park. That's actually what I thought. And then I said, motherfucker, is you crazy? I
Yeah.
said, so I called my man. He was like, ah, where you at? I said, I'm on. He said, nah, where you at? Where you working at? I'm on my way. These motherfuckers actually came. They actually came and chilled with me for, you sure you good? Give me a hold of money. I said, nah, I'm good, man. It was just a thought. But I'm just saying this to say that you got people here, man, that'll help you. You got the help is here.
Yes. I had I
But
had
huh,
I had that happen to me. I was just sitting in my apartment
mm,
because my wife wasn't here yet. She's here now. I had to go fly to Texas. So Texas is where the substances started for me. My addiction started at home. But substances kicked off in Texas for me. So my addiction was like, hey, you're going to Texas. Why don't you call up old girl? See what that be like. I was like, nah, nah, nah,
mm-hmm,
nah. So I like you. I called my network. I called my sponsor. I went to a meeting
mm-hmm,
and I told on it.
mm-hmm.
I
That's what we
told
gotta
on it.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I told
yeah,
on that. I took
yeah.
the power away from it just like you did, where you was like,
Mm-hmm,
no. One, I'm gonna sit still. I'm gonna call my
Mm-hmm.
network and I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
tell on it. Like this is what's going on. And that's
Exactly.
what play the tape is. That's what play the tape is. That is
Mm-hmm.
exactly what play. People were like, what is play the tape? Exactly what Darryl did. Exactly what I did. We had a thought that
Mm-hmm.
was intrusive and that was
Mm-hmm.
going to hurt us, and we played the
Mm-hmm.
tape for others, and they came with their experience, strength, and hope.
That's how
To
this thing works, man.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
better work
sir.
it, cause this
Yes,
this, this
sir.
program, and that's another thing, bro. I never knew that recovery is fun.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and it's some times where we gonna cry and it's a bunch of crazy
Mm-hmm.
shit gonna go on, but it's cool. But man, it's the best motherfucking thing out here.
Yeah, I
This
agree.
is actually the best thing, man, cause it's I wouldn't trade my place, right? Somebody asked you that recently. If I had to go back and do it all over again, or if I could be somebody else, I say shit. No,
Yeah.
nope. I would be me, and I would be me the fuck right now. It's just that simple. Cause everybody still don't get what I get.
I'm with you. I share that a lot sometimes when I would go speak and when I would do go do H&I or be of service. I would tell people, and they would some would look at me funny, be like, "What do you mean you're grateful and you're thankful for that part of your life?" I'm like, "Because if it wasn't for that part of my life, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have a conscious contact with my higher power, with the
Mm-hmm.
God of my understanding. I would be further away with
Mm-hmm.
that." In that using and active using, it made me a better person. It made
Mm-hmm.
me address things that needed to be addressed and be under my higher power's grace. And I'm grateful for that because the person I'm becoming now is is going to continuously, like you said, get better. So I'm with you when you say I don't want to change. I want to go through all those experiences the same
Mm-hmm.
because those experiences made me who I am, and I can help someone.
That's it.
I can help someone. I could be of service to someone. And like you said, it ain't even got to be about drugs. It could be about mental health. It could be about depression, anxiety, guilt, shame, gambling, porn, food.
All
Same,
that.
all of that, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And the step work and the spiritual principles
Mm-hmm.
all work the same.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's so funny that you said that. I like that. I'm with you. I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
I don't regret it. I'm thankful for it. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm with you.
Absolutely. Yep.
Hey man, listen, D. Look, you'll be back up here again.
Man, it's so much more.
I know
Hey,
that, but
look,
that's what I'm saying. You'll be back up here
it's
again.
so
You'll
much
be back
more.
up
Yeah.
here. Yeah, you gonna
Shit.
be a recurring guest because I know we can't get everything in an hour. But you're gonna come back because I know you got more of your story. You got more recovery that we need to get into. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, brother, I love you. And I thank you for doing this and being a light to those people like us that are still in the dark, that don't think there's hope. And there is hope. You're looking at it. You're looking at a man, my brother right here, that is working his
Mm-hmm.
recovery program, and it is working. Not only is he surviving, he is living. He is a survivor and he is living joyous, happy, and free. And
That's
that's a
it.
blessing. And I'm so grateful for you being up here today, brother. I really am.
Yes, sir. No, not a problem. You
Yeah.
gotta look. You gotta invite me back, man. It's so
Oh,
much more.
I
It's so
know.
much more, man. This
I
shit just
know. I know.
I can tap in and make it get shit, man. Bring me back. I got some stories for your ass.
I got you. Yes, you are coming back. You are coming back.
Life is
And
something, man. It's a
yes, it
beautiful
is.
thing, though. It's a beautiful thing to survive that shit and to be right here, right now is actually awesome.
Man,
Truthfully.
listen, this gives me joy because it's like every time I do an interview, I learn something new every time for all the people that I've interviewed, all the testimonies and the stories and the experience, strength, and hope that y'all share, that we share together. This helps me just as much as it helps y'all. And I'm grateful for it, bro. I really am. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
thankful that God put this on me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, but yeah, you'll be back. You will be back. You
Yes,
will be
sir.
back. Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
listen, D, I love you. I know you got to
Love you
get
more.
I know you got to keep moving around and everything. Keep doing what you're doing. Hey, God
Mm-hmm.
bless you. I love you, brother. And I'm going to talk to you soon.
All right, love you too, man.
Thank you,
Thanks
bro.
again.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir. All right.
All right,
Peace.
buddy.
Um, that is the episode. And listen, we're here because we love you. If no one told you today that they love you, we love you. I love you. With peace comes understanding. With understanding comes love. And with love comes faith. And with faith comes hope. And with that comes recovery. And I say recovery for trials and tribulations. I say recovery for when we stumble, we get up. I say recovery as a positive action, a positive word. It means change into a new direction, into a positive direction. It's not going to be easy, and sometimes it's going to be hard, but we can do it together because we are a community. And until next time, I love you. God bless you. Peace.